This afternoon, family, you are about to figure out who you truly are. By the time this video ends, you're going to have a true understanding on your real existence. You may have thought you knew who you were, but I promise you, by the time this video ends, you will have a more clearer understanding of who you spiritually are. And for those people who have been wondering, what life means for them and their real existence, their real purpose on this planet, may this be the path. May this video be the road that leads you to the fulfillment of that question you have. You have now entered the Cosmic Christ University, family. This is the home of the esoteric and the metaphysical knowledge. I am ordained metaphysical minister Dr. Corbin, reporting live. I don't want to waste no time, so I won't. Let's start the show. Our real existence is as spirit, and only in the degree that we perceive our real existence as spirit do we drop the false sense of life as material. Then we see that the structural life of man, animal, and plant is but the false sense of existence. That our concern for the so-called necessities of material living has been unnecessary. It is time for us to have that talk, whether you're spiritual, whether you're religious. And for my religious family who I love so much, Christ was quoted as saying, "I am in this world, but I am not from it." Christ, our brother, also said, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed to the renewing of your mind." In Hindu mythology and in Hindu knowing, the word Maya, Maya, not only referred to this place being an illusion, but Maya in itself means something that doesn't exist. The Gnostics, who some folks call the early Christians, the Gnostics who are my divine family, yours too, some of you, their main theme was that this world was an illusion controlled by a demiurge named Yaldabaoth, who some people can equate to the Jehovah in Orthodox Christianity. We can go all the way back to Egyptian, Persia, you name it. I'm going to read this again and then we're going to keep going on. But I want you to think about that. Think about what time we are living in 2026. Think about what the propaganda is being fed. Think about the tragic trajectory that has been repeated through decades and decades, the fear that has been projected throughout. And then I want you to think about your responsibility as you're going to learn what it really is today. I want you to take a time throughout this video to think about everything you're going through in your life, the things that you know about, the things that you share with others, the things that you only think about when it's nighttime, your first thoughts in the morning. As I read this to you, family, we're being serious now. You're about to learn who you really are. The truth and the real question is, once you know who you really are, can you handle who you really are? Our real existence, for those who are watching, is as spirit, and only in the degree that we perceive our real existence as spirit do we drop the false sense of life as material. For those who may not know, material world. For those who may not know, aka the physical world. For those who still may not know this current world that we are in now. Then we see that the structural life of man, animal, and plant is but the false sense of existence. That our concern for the so called necessities of material living has been unnecessary. That although the beauties we behold all hint at God's creation, they are not that spiritual and perfect creation. That the sick, aging, dying appearances are not at all a part of real life. When we arrive at this state of consciousness, we begin to catch glimpses of eternal spiritual existence, untouched by material conditions or mortal thoughts. Or mortal thoughts. This is where it's going to get interesting. Shout out to the legend Bobby Hemmitt. For those who know about Bobby Hemmitt's work, he often talked about chaos, advanced beings. Moralism is something since we were young toddlers that we grew up to have. We were taught to have moralism. There's a code of living, a certain way you're supposed to act and behave. But moving into what people know as the divine feminine age, the Aquarian age, the return of Sophia, also the energy of Lilith, understanding of the Holy Ghost, the active power, Shekna, Shakti, understanding all that together, Tantra, understanding all this. Understanding all of this. When we arrive at this state of consciousness, we begin to catch glimpses of eternal spiritual existence, untouched by material conditions or mortal thoughts. Back to the chaos situation. Some of you, a lot of us, majority, if not all of us, are chaos beings. Case in point. How many of you watching have been so mad? I mean, angry mad. I mean, you finna do something mad. And there's that inner thought, like, let me calm down before I do something, and I'm finna go off, because you know that inner power. You are structured from chaos. I encourage those to research chaos magic, or what they call chaos theory. Research the voodoo, research the old Haiti traditions. This goes way back into who we truly are, but let me continue going on with this. You can research this later on. When we arrive at this state of consciousness, we begin to catch glimpses of eternal spiritual existence, untouched by material conditions or mortal thoughts. As we turn from the world, we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. We catch inspired visions which show forth the earth of God's creating. In healing work, we must turn from the structural universe which we see. We must remember that we are not called upon to heal it, change it, alter it, correct it, or save it. Shout out to my shamans. They'll tell you this themselves. The shamans can go themselves to a whole nother state of existence, a whole nother realm, and interact with beings just by their state of consciousness. We all can do that once we tune into who we are. Let's keep on going. Let's not lose track. In healing work, we must turn from the structural universe which we see. We must remember that we are not called upon to heal it, change it, alter it, correct it, or save it. We are first of all to realize that it exists only as illusion. I'm going to calm this down. I thank you for your patience. I said I want to calm this down. I thank you for your patience. I was just talking about chaos magic. I was just talking about being chaos beings. I was just previously talking about moralism. And all that was to be said is that we are more than human beings. We are multi-dimensional beings because we transcend time, space, and matter. Christ himself said that we are in this world, we are not from it. We have to understand that the essence of who we are cannot be put in a moralism, structural, physical life living only. And as we see in politics, the government, entertainment, social structure, the reason why we are seeing these material things that we grew to love disintegrate in front of our eyes because it was never really who we were, what we were meant to see, and what is actually real. Now, as I slow this conversation down, going on 10 minutes now, my question to my family now, my brothers and sisters in Cosmic Christ Energy, my brothers and sisters watching, how are you now ready to deal? And can you deal now with the fact that this material world that we are living in is about to disintegrate, and that hopefully enough of you have done the work within yourself to know that we are about to head towards something that is all mental, that our thoughts are going to manifest more and more what we see in our remaining time in this planet. You don't have to take my word for it. I've been breaking it down, and hopefully I've been breaking it down as clear as possible. If not, I can definitely read a little bit briefly before I go in, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back briefly. In healing work, let's go back a little bit more. As we turn from the world, we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. We catch inspired visions which show forth the earth of God's creating. In healing work, we must turn from the structural universe which we see. We must remember that we are not called upon to heal it, change it, alter it, connect it, or save it. We must first of all to realize that it exists only as an illusion. Before I go further, my last question to you watching, a serious question. With everything that you attach and everything that you attach yourself, everything, everything that you attach yourself to in this life, are you willing to come to grips that it is all an illusion, that none of it matters except your true inner being, except you? That's why when people talk about reincarnating and following the light, at the end of the tunnel, and they come back into the baby state of mind, that's because they were still focused on family, course, uh, relationships, friends. It was when you're trying to go to the worlds beyond and reach higher levels and higher states of realms and existence and go beyond 4, 5, 6 dimension. There are certain material, physical concerns that can no longer serve your purpose. Let's keep on going. We are first of all to realize that it, talking about this world, only exists as an illusion, as the false sense of life. From this vantage point, family watching, I said, from this vantage point, family watching, in consciousness, we behold through spiritual sense the house not made with hands, internal in the heavens. That's a quote, end quote. We are apt to think of certain people as good providers, good earners, good salesmen, or good healers. Let us understand that this correctly. I said, let us understand this correctly. It is never a person but a state of consciousness which heals, regenerates, paints, writes, or composes. The state of consciousness becomes visible to us as a person because of the finite concept we entertain of God and man. Now, I want to read that again to make sure I'm putting respect on not just the words, but also the respect on what you are actually hearing and that you hear it clear. So, thank you for your patience. Once again, we are apt to think of certain people as good providers, good earners, good salesmen, or good healers. Let us understand this correctly, family. It is never a person, but a state of consciousness which heals, regenerates, paints, writes, or composes. The state of consciousness becomes visible to us as a person because of the finite concept we entertain of God and man. We often suffer disappointment when some people fail to live up to the picture we have formed of them. Let me say this again because we all have been there, have we not? Hit the like button if you're still watching and you have been here. Listen, listen, listen. We often suffer disappointment when some people fail to live up to the picture we have formed of them. This is because we have ascribed the good qualities of consciousness to a person, and then when he fails to live up to those qualities, we have erroneously believed to be the person we suffer. For you who have been in relationships, for you have been in situations with family members, even in jobs. I want to make sure I read this again and we all have a clear understanding because this is class and the teacher, the minister is going to make sure that the students, and there are also masters in here because a master always knows that he is a student because there are things always to learn. So let's read this again. And if you can agree, hit the like button. We often suffer disappointment when some people fail to live up to the picture we have formed of them. This is because we have ascribed the good qualities of consciousness to a person, and then when he or she fails to live up to those qualities, we have erroneously, that means with error, believed to be the person we suffer. In the Bible, we meet the character Moses, Isaiah, Jesus, and Paul. We should realize that Moses represents the leader state of consciousness or leadership. Isaiah presents to us prophecy. Jesus shows forth the Messiah consciousness or saving and healing grace. Paul carries the consciousness of the messenger, preacher, or teacher. Always, however, it is the particular state of consciousness expressing itself and appearing to us as men. Now, I want to say this. The beautiful thing about the Bible, probably one of the biggest magical spell books of all time, and I say that with great respect. But the great thing about the Bible is that the Bible can only meet you where your state of consciousness is. The Bible is really broken down in three layers: literal, spiritual, and even then, beyond spiritual, there's even a higher spiritual understanding or higher divine understanding. Let's say it that way. So let's read that again. In the Bible, we meet with the characters to understand the people who wrote the Bible come from a mystery school with information from long time ago. So when these gems were presented to us in the Bible, it wasn't just giving you characters who once lived. They were giving you gems on how to raise your consciousness. This is what the Bible is truly all about at the end of the day. The longer you live, you can appreciate not just the Bible, not just the Quran, not just the Kabbalah, not just the Torah, the Zohar, all these magical books that really point, not all of them, what you call black magic, white magic, gray magic, all these point to your inner knowing and your inner growth. So once again, with me saying that, listen up. In the Bible, we meet with the characters Moses, Isaiah, Jesus, and Paul. We should realize that Moses represents the leader state of consciousness or leadership. Isaiah presents to us prophecy. Jesus shows forth the Messiah consciousness or saving and healing grace. Paul carries the consciousness of the messenger, preacher, or teacher. Always, however, it is the particular state of consciousness expressing itself and appearing to us as men. George Washington certainly represents the consciousness of national integrity. Abraham Lincoln, the consciousness of individual integrity and equality. When we think of ourselves, let us forget our so-called humanhood and human qualities and try to understand what we represent as consciousness, and then realize that consciousness, which is expressing itself as us, is likewise maintaining and prospering us as our endeavors. Now, Minister, we'll be going on 20 minutes now, 21. Now, Minister, you in this book is saying to forget about me being a human. Well, what else can I do? Now, this is where it gets really real. Because once you understand that all you are, the greatest part of who you are, is within yourself as spirit, the essence as soul. Spirit animates the soul. That you are in this world. But in my Father's house, there are many mansions. So at the end of the day, you have to understand that you are more. And if I threw that quote off, then forgive me. But you have to understand that you are more than just human. You are more than just mortal. And once you can go within, once you can realize that you are beyond this world, even beyond the solar system, my gosh. Let's read that again. When we think of ourselves, let us forget our so-called humanhood and human qualities and try to understand what we represent as consciousness, and then realize that consciousness, which is expressing itself as us, is likewise maintaining and prospering us as our endeavors. Failure often comes through the belief that we express God or life or intelligence, or that we express God qualities. This is never true. God consciousness is forever expressing itself and its qualities. Consciousness, life, spirit can never fail. I said consciousness, life, spirit can never fail. Our task is to learn to relax and let our soul express ourselves, or express itself. Now, to my church family, I thank you for watching. I thank you for your patience. One of the biggest things in the Bible says, be still and know that I am. Let go and let God. If there has been failure in your life, or if there has been situations where it didn't work out for you, I want you to listen to this carefully. Failure often comes through the belief that we express God or life or intelligence, or that we express God qualities. This is never true. God consciousness is forever expressing itself and its qualities. Consciousness, life, spirit, those things can never fail. Our task is to learn to relax and let our soul express itself. Now you just realize what our job is, what our mission is, and that is to relax. Stop stressing about, forget all the anxiety, depression. You only have one job, and that is to relax and let your soul express itself. Wow. How many of you can actually deal with that realization. I want you to think about that. A lot of people are just fed up with life. A lot of people are like, I'm tired of the bills, tired of the family. A lot of people are thinking, this job is not giving me the satisfaction that I know I deserve. You are now getting answers to why this is happening. You are realizing that you are more than your physical existence. You can really tonight, if you want to, meditate. That means quiet all the noise in your life. Get by yourself if you can, in a room by yourself for like 10 minutes. If 20, 30 be excellent. Quiet the noise and go within. Clear all the thoughts and watch what happens. That's who you really are. Watch where you can go with no limit, with no plane ticket. That's who you really are. Egotism is the attempt to be or to do something through either personal, physical, excuse me, or mental effort to, and I quote, take no thought, end quote, is to refrain from consciousness thinking and to let divine ideal fill our consciousness. Church people, I gotta go right back to what it was saying. Let go and what? Church people, what y'all say? Let go and let God. It's saying the same thing literally right here. It's saying the same thing. All you gotta do is relax and let your soul express itself. But can you do that? Can't nobody answer that except you. That's the beautiful thing about it. Right now, if I look at you and say, relax, it's all taken care of. I want you to think about that. You don't gotta try to explain nothing to me or anybody else. If I tell you right now, I ain't gonna tell you, you just read it, you just heard it. I want to have this conversation with you, and this because we're family, right? We're family, regardless if you say we're family. I'm gonna show you how the mind works and how your inner being works. Watch this. And I'm gonna be serious with you as I read this. I'm giving you an answer. I'm giving everybody an answer of who they really are and what they got and what they gotta do to survive not just this life, but even worlds after this one. The experiment class is as you are hearing this and I'm talking to you, is something going to pop up and make you worry. Where was it? Here we go. Life, spirit can never fail. Our task, which means our job, our mission, is to learn to relax and let our soul express itself. Egotism is the attempt to be or to do something through either personal, physical, or mental effort. Two, and the quote is, take no thought, quote, end quote, is to refrain from conscious thinking and to let divine ideals fill our consciousness. Now, church people, we just said that goes back to the Bible when it says, let go and let God. Know that I am. Be still and know that I am. If you know this now, that this is the answer, this is what you got to do, can you do it? Will your mind allow you to stress about nothing, worry about nothing? Whether it's family, relationships, your job, the bills that are due right now. Can your mind be still and not let you worry about that? You don't have to answer that for me. That is a question for you, especially at nighttime when either your partner is asleep or whether you're on your way to sleep by yourself. That's when your inner thoughts really start hitting you, your subconscious really start talking to you before you go to sleep as you prepare for nighttime sleep. So that question I just asked is for you. You have now just been given, what, 30-some minutes now? Not even. What it be? Not even yet. You have just been given the answer to life. The question is, can you relax and let go and be still and know that the divine, the true consciousness within you already got you, been had you before you were born? Yeah, yeah. Mental illness, mental illness, or missing spiritual link, or missing spiritual connection. You be the judge. All right. We can always trust that. We can always trust that consciousness. We can always trust that consciousness to fulfill itself and its mission. We are the spectator or witness of this divine activity or of life expressing and fulfilling itself. I said we are the spectator or witness of this divine activity of life expressing and fulfilling itself. More and more, we must become the spectator or witness. Like George Gurdjieff, who was a Sufi mystic, great scholar. Look up George Gurdjieff. He said you have to become the observed and the observer at the same time. More and more, we must become the spectator or witness. We must become the beholder of life and its harmonies. Each morning, we should awaken with eagerness, family, to watch the new day unfolding and revealing each hour new joys and victories. Several times each day, we should consciously realize that we are witnessing the revelation of life internal, the unfolding of consciousness and its infinite expression, the activity of spirit and its grand formation in every situation of our daily experience. Let us learn to stand back of ourselves and see God at work. Witness the play of love upon our affairs and watch God reveal himself in all those about us. Can you do that? Can you do that with that coworker who you can't stand? Can you see God in that coworker? Can you see your relationship? Do you see it as toxic? Do you see it as something that's not going to last? Do you see something that just not, or can you see divine intent? Yeah. Can you, even though you can't stand your neighbor, can you see that your neighbor is God? Can you love thy neighbor? Or you can just see distaste and wickedness and hatred for your neighbor. These things really determine it all for you. Some people worry about death, but until you understand, live life, there's no need to worry about death. Because if you're not living the way you're supposed to, you're only going to get more of what you've been getting here with no filter. So I'm about to wrap this up, and I thank y'all for your patience. I thank you for your viewership. If you love this, then if you want a part two, in the words of Jadakiss, hallelujah, now come on. And I'll make sure I go through that song today. Um, I'm going to finish this up, but I want you to really think about this. Think about your real existence. Think about who you really are. Know that this world that we live in now is not going to be this world forever. Realize that you are now reaching higher levels. And that's going to take you going within yourself and knowing who you truly are. So let me finish this up for you folks, and I want you to have an amazing, great year, an amazing, great day. Every night we should realize that our rest does not bring to a close God's activity in our experience, but that love is the protecting influence and substance of our rest. That consciousness is imparting its ideas to us even in sleep. That principle is not the guiding law throughout the night. Nothing from without can enter consciousness to defile, and this truth stands guard at our mental portals to admit only reality in its harmonies. Be a holder and witness. Watch the unveiling of the Christ in your consciousness. Family, it is always a pleasure. Cosmic Christ University. Till next time.